Okay, let's unpack this. We are taking a deep dive into financial principles that are, literally 4,000 years old.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It is. We're talking about the core wisdom in the parables of the richest man in Babylon. Our mission here isn't just to, summarize the text.
No, not at all.
It's to pull out the actionable laws that allowed a city built on basically nothing but mud to become the wealthiest in the ancient world.
And that's the ultimate paradox, right? That's why these lessons are so powerful. The story kicks off in a place of just universal, timeless frustration.
Totally. You've got Bansir, the carriage maker, and his friend Kobe, the musician.
Two honest guys, good at what they do. They're earning decent money, and yet their purses are always empty. It's infuriating for them.
And you see Bansir sitting on his wall, just completely demoralized. He says he's worked from dawn until dark for decades, but the only time he feels wealthy is in his dreams.
It's so relatable. He sees all this opulence around him in Babylon, but he just can't touch it.
It's that feeling anyone living paycheck to paycheck today knows instantly.
Exactly. And it sets up the perfect question because it highlights that confusion between earning money and actually keeping money. They're surrounded by this mix of sumptuosity and terrible poverty.
And they ask the big question, why are we working so hard and getting nowhere while Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, just seems to get richer without even trying?
Arkad, he's the guide here. And the key is he wasn't born into it. He started as a humble scribe.
Right. He says his success wasn't luck, it wasn't magic. It was specific, learnable laws, what he calls the 7 cures for a lean purse. And our mission is to distill those for you.
And you have to remember the context, Babylonia. They had no forests, no mines, none of that. Just fertile land and the river.
So all its success was manufactured.
Purely. Through human ingenuity and, this is the crucial part, financial intelligence. That's the intelligence that Arkad distilled, starting with his encounter with Algamish, the great moneylender.
Right. And Algamish kind of throws down a challenge to the young Arkad. He says something like, you're smart enough to carve on clay, but are you smart enough to get wealthy?
And the very first cure Arkad learns is, well, it's shocking in its simplicity, but it's completely revolutionary in what it implies.
This is the first cure. Start thy purse to fattening.
Alchemist tells him he has to save a part of everything he earns, not half, not a quarter.
Just a tenth. At least 10% of every single coin that comes in has to be set aside.
And the detail that I love is Algamish's critique. He says, you pay everyone else, the tailor, the baker, the shoemaker, but you do not pay yourself.
Oof, that hits hard. Arkad realized he was just a worker for other people, never for his own future.
And by setting aside that 1/10, he immediately changed who owned his labor. It's a huge psychological shift.
That 10% becomes sacred. It's yours to keep, and it's the seed for everything else.
But of course, the immediate objection from Bansir and Kobe then, and from people now, is,
I need all of it just to survive.
Exactly. How can 9/10 possibly be enough?
So how did Arkad deal with that?
Well, that leads us straight to the second cure. Control thy expenditures. Arkad quickly figured out that human desires are, well, they're infinite.
Your expenses just rise to meet your income.
Always. You earn twice as much, you don't feel twice as rich, because your wants just multiply. Desire is always a moving target.
So the answer isn't just more income, it's discipline.
It's discipline. The Babylonians used a budget. They'd literally write it all down on a clay tablet income, planned expenses. But the rule wasn't about starving yourself.
This is about defining the limits of the 9/10 you have left for living.
Yes. You have to distinguish between your necessary expenses and the, quote, many desires that must go unsatisfied.
So the budget isn't a prison, it's more like a map.
Or a light. He says it's like a light shining in a dark cave. It shows you where the leaks are and forces you to choose which desires are important enough to actually fund.
All while keeping that critical 1/10 for your future completely untouched.
Untouched. And once that first 10th is saved, the real work starts. Because just piling up money doesn't make you wealthy.
Which brings us to the crucial third cure. Make thy gold multiply.
The saved part has to reproduce. Gold sitting idle might make you feel secure, but it does absolutely nothing to build a fortune. You have to put your savings to work.
And he used that analogy of gold pieces as slaves, right?
He did. Every piece of gold you save is a slave that works for you. And those slaves need to have children, the interest, the returns, who also go to work for you.
His first good investment was a loan to Agar, the shield maker.
A simple, smart move. Agar was reliable, he paid back the principal, and crucially, the interest.
And that's where the real engine of this whole system kicks in, something the Babylonians clearly understood: compound returns.
Yes. If you reinvest the interest, that interest starts earning its own interest.
And over time, that power is it's exponential.
It's staggering. Just think about that story in the text about the farmer who left 10 gold coins for his son. After 50 years of just modest, steady compounding.
How many did it become?
Those 10 coins turned into 167.
Wow, that's a 1,570% increase?
Something like that, yeah. And not from adding huge new amounts of money, just from patience and letting compound interest do its relentless work. It really shows you that time is the ally of the saver.
Time is your ally, sure, but only if you don't lose the capital to begin with.
Ah, yes, the harsh lesson.
Which brings us to cure number 4. Guard thy treasures from loss. And we know even Arkad himself made some huge mistakes here.
He did. His first big one was trusting inexperience. He gave all the money he'd saved for a year to Asmur, a brickmaker.
To do what?
To travel to Tyre and buy rare jewels. Of course, Asmur comes back with worthless bits of colored glass. He'd been totally swindled.
And Arkad lost everything overnight.
The whole year's savings, gone.
It sounds so familiar today, you know? Chasing some flashy, high-return thing promised by someone with zero expertise in that field.
It's the same story. Algamish's response to him was so cutting. He said, "Would you go to the baker for advice about the stars? Go see the jeweler for jewels."
Simple rule.
Yeah.
Get advice from people who are competent in that specific thing, people who handle those treasures professionally.
And who manage their own money well. It's about due diligence and just avoiding those irresistible siren songs of usurers who promise impossible gains.
Experience over intuition.
And this ties right into the Babylonian idea of luck. Luck, they believed, favors those who are prepared to act decisively. It definitely does not favor the procrastinator.
Right, the person who just delays and delays.
We see that in the story of the merchant. He gets offered a piece of a really profitable irrigation project, clear opportunity.
But he hesitates. He and his wife decide to buy some fancy new clothes first, so they put off making the investment.
And by the time they're ready to pay the deposit, the opportunity is gone. It passed him by.
Opportunity is fleeting. Waiting for the perfect moment is the fastest way to kill your fortune.
You have to recognize a good deal and act on it. That's what people mistake for luck.
Okay, let's pivot a little. We've talked about accumulation. Let's talk about stability. The Babylonians saw wealth as more holistic than just a pile of gold.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the 5th and 6th cures. The 5th one is, make thy dwelling a profitable investment.
So own your own home.
Own your home. And the logic back then was pretty powerful.
Beyond just having a roof over your head, how does owning a home help you financially?
Of course, first, it lowers your cost of living. You're not pouring money into a landlord's purse, which frees up more of that 9/10 for yourself.
Okay, that makes sense.
But maybe more importantly, it builds this immense personal confidence. Every payment you make reduces your debt and increases your net worth at the same time.
It must have provided a profound sense of security, especially in a world that could be so chaotic.
It was everything. And that security leads right into the 6th cure, which is ensure a future income.
Planning for old age.
They were intensely focused on it, making sure that when your ability to work fades, your ability to provide for your family doesn't.
So this is basically ancient retirement planning.
Or insurance, yeah. They would make steady deposits, or they'd invest in things like income-producing land that would keep paying out even when they were too old to work it themselves. It's about building a financial shell for your vulnerable years.
Okay, so now we have to talk about the elephant in the room for so many people. Debt. When you're drowning in debt, how could you possibly save a tenth?
The story of Dabasir, the camel dealer, gives the most actionable plan I've ever seen for that.
His story is pretty grim, right?
Oh, it's terrible. He was so extravagant, he racked up huge debts, fled the city, got captured, and was sold into slavery.
Wow.
But he eventually gets his freedom back, returns to Babylon, and he is determined to fix things.
And he finds Arkad, who gives him the famous Dabasir plan on the clay tablets.
Yeah.
What makes that plan so revolutionary?
Its genius is that it forces you to build wealth and repay debt at the same time. It doesn't let debt paralyze your future.
So he divides every coin he earns into 3 parts.
3 strict portions. First, 1/10 goes straight to savings for his future fortune. Arkad's first rule. That was sacred, even while he was deep in debt.
Okay, 1/10 to save. What about the rest?
7/10 were for living expenses. Enough for him and his wife to live with some dignity, but no frills.
And the last part.
The remaining 2/10 were divided honorably among all his creditors.
So he wasn't just paying down debt. He was actively, immediately rebuilding his own fortune.
That's the whole point. Psychologically, he started acting like a wealthy man building capital, not just a slave trying to pay off his masters.
And the creditors went for it.
They did, because they saw the genius of it. They knew he was building both his integrity and his ability to actually pay them back in full. Dabasir said it gave him the soul of a free man.
That phrase is so powerful. He says a free man sees life as a series of problems to be solved. But a slave just whimpers, "What can I do?"
The plan gave him a path to solve his problem. It's a powerful lesson that just avoiding debt is less effective than disciplined repayment combined with disciplined saving.
And this all builds up to the seventh and final cure, the ultimate investment. Increase thy ability to earn.
Self-mastery. The physical purse can only grow so big, right? The real potential is in making yourself more competent.
Arkad's advice was that the more knowledge and skill you get, the more you'll earn.
It's the foundation. So whether you're a scribe, a camel dealer, or a software engineer today, constantly improving your market value is the fastest way to grow your wealth.
There's that story about Sharonada, right? The partner of Arkad's son.
Yes. While he was a slave, he realized that doing honest, excellent work was the best friend he ever had. It didn't just get him opportunities.
It gave him real skill, real confidence.
Exactly. He wasn't dependent on luck anymore. He was dependent on his own proven ability.
So at the end of the day, the gold is just a reflection of your own integrity and discipline.
That's it. You commit to paying yourself first, controlling your spending, investing wisely, securing your home, planning for your future, and always increasing your skill. Wealth it naturally follows.
And that's the synthesis of this ancient wisdom. These were lessons once considered secrets, passed from a master to a student.
And then they were shared by the king of Babylon himself, because he realized they were essential for the prosperity of the whole nation.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener, today? Well, having access to this kind of organized, distilled wisdom is the modern key. Just like Arkad sought out Alchemish.
Right. Seeking out essential knowledge is the greatest investment you can make. The Babylonians valued wisdom more than a sack of gold because wisdom could always get the gold back.
And we curate these deep dives precisely for that reason. So you don't have to wade through 4,000 years of parables yourself. We pull out the principles and make them actionable.
It's all about making it usable.
Exactly. So if you want to make sure you never miss another deep dive into essential, life-changing knowledge like this, you should be part of our subscriber community. Access to this information is the modern way to follow Arkad's advice to constantly seek out wisdom.
To sum up the core laws that have lasted for millennia, wealth isn't about luck. It's about simple, universal principles.
Pay yourself first.
Control your spending, make your money multiply, and guard your capital.
Secure your home, ensure your future,
And always increase your skill.
and here's the final provocative thought to leave you with, bringing it all back to that paradox of Babylonia.
Remember, this city was built on an arid plain. No timber, no stone, no metal, no natural resources at all.
And yet, it became the epicenter of wealth for thousands of years.
It succeeded because its citizens applied human ingenuity and, most importantly, this financial knowledge to create wealth where there was none.
So the ultimate lesson is
That human knowledge and disciplined action are the only resources you truly need for success, whether it's 2000 BC or today.
thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.